Chosen one, I want you to mentally lock onto the specific decision that has been keeping you awake at 3 a.m., the one where you walked away, the one that feels like a mistake, the one that has you staring at the ceiling, chest tight, asking yourself over and over, did I just ruin God's plan for my life? You think you went off script. You think you have been demoted to plan B because you messed up plan A. But what if I told you that you have it completely backwards? Visualize God holding the script of your safe life, the life you just disrupted. Now, watch him tear it into pieces. He is not angry, he is relieved, because that safe life was not his plan A. That was just the waiting room. That was the permissive will of God, where he let you stay comfortable until you were strong enough for the real mission. By making that shocking choice, by listening to that illogical pull in your gut, you did not disqualify yourself. You literally forced the hand of God to unlock the accelerated timeline he was saving for this exact moment. You did not break the plan, you broke the cage. You are not hearing this by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here, the Holy Spirit did. This is a divine appointment to confirm what your spirit already knows, but your mind is too scared to accept. If you are ready to align with this new timeline, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. It is a digital act of agreement, telling the universe that you are listening. Like this video to seal this word, and if your spirit is vibrating with this truth, keep listening, because what comes next is not just encouragement, it is instruction. Here is the truth that religious people will never tell you. God saw the choice you made. He saw you walk away from the stability. He saw you cut off the relationship. He saw you take the risk. And his reaction was not anger. It was not disappointment. God was shocked. But not in the way you think. He was shocked by your audacity. Most people play it safe. Most people stay in the boat. But you jumped into the water. And when you did that, you created a disruption in the spiritual realm so massive that God had to immediately rewrite the trajectory of your future. I need you to stay with me until the very end of this message, because we are going to walk through the specific protocol of how to navigate this new path. If you leave halfway, you will have the revelation, but you will lack the strategy, and that is a dangerous place to be. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why you feel so exhausted right now, and I will hand you a key to fix it. You might be thinking, surely I need to repent. Surely I need to ask for forgiveness for being so reckless. But listen to me. This is not about forgiveness. This is about activation. You are treating this like a stumble, but God is treating it like a launch. You have triggered what I call the quantum pivot. In the physical realm, it looks like you lost everything or made a mess. But in the spiritual realm, you just found a wormhole. You bypassed 10 years of slow, linear growth and jumped straight into the deep end of your destiny. This is exactly what happened in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 19. You have heard it quoted 1,000 times. Behold, I do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? But let's look at the context, because context changes everything. When God spoke this through the prophet, the Israelites were obsessed with their past. They were looking back at the Red Sea, talking about the good old days of miracles, or they were looking at their current captivity in Babylon, feeling hopeless. They were stuck looking at the wreckage behind them, and God had to shake them. He was saying, stop looking at the road I made yesterday. Stop looking at the safety you lost. I am making a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Notice where he makes the way. In the wilderness. The wilderness is messy. It is scary. It is uncharted territory. That is where you are right now. You are in the wilderness of your new choice. And you are failing to see the new thing because you are still mourning the old thing. God is saying, I am building a highway right here, in the middle of this chaos you think you created. The chaos is not the end. The chaos is the construction site of your new empire. But this brings us to a critical problem. If this is truly God's plan A, if this is the accelerated timeline, then why do you feel so terrible? Why does it feel like your brain is in a fog? Why are you more tired now than you were when you were depressed? You feel stuck, like you are trying to run through water. This is where most chosen ones give up. They think the resistance means they went the wrong way. They think the fatigue is a sign of God's disapproval. It is not. The reason you feel like you are crashing is because of a biological conflict. Imagine you have a brand new, high-speed software program that requires massive processing power. That is the new plan God just downloaded into your spirit. It is 5D. It is complex. It involves high-level intuition, rapid manifestation, and spiritual warfare. But you are trying to run that software on a computer built in 1995. That is your current brain state. Your spirit is operating in 2030, but your biology is stuck in survival mode. There is a frequency gap. Your spirit is vibrating at the level of the new timeline, but your brain is still vibrating at the level of the old trauma. This gap is what is killing your energy. It is creating a dissonance that feels like anxiety, but it is actually friction. Your old hardware cannot handle the voltage of your new destiny. If you do not close this frequency gap, you will burn out. You will sabotage the new plan not because you want to, but because your biology will force you to retreat to safety just to survive. You need to understand the mechanics of this. Your old life, the one you just left, ran on beta brainwaves. Beta is the frequency of logic, stress, survival, and linear thinking. It is the frequency of pay your bills, keep your head down, and don't make waves. It is useful for survival, but it is useless for miracles. The new timeline, this quantum pivot you have initiated, operates on theta brainwaves. Theta is the frequency of the miraculous. It is the state of deep intuition, divine connection, and superlearning. It is the state where you do not just pray to God, you hear God back instantly. For you to succeed in this new plan, you cannot just change your mind, you have to change your brain. This is what Paul meant in Romans chapter 12 verse 2. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. We read that and think it means just thinking positive thoughts. But the Greek word Paul used there is metamorphosis. That is not a polite change of opinion. Metamorphosis is what happens when a caterpillar dissolves into goo to become a butterfly. It is a violent, structural, biological change. It is a complete rewiring of the creature's existence. Paul was not telling you to just think differently. He was prophesying a biological upgrade. He was saying that to carry the will of God, your physical mind must undergo a structural renovation. You have to shift from a beta-dominant brain to a theta-dominant brain. The problem is, historically, this kind of shift takes decades. The ancient mystics, the desert fathers, the monks, they would spend 20 years in caves, meditating for 12 hours a day, just to train their brains to access this theta state. They dedicated their entire lives to building the bridge from beta to theta. But you do not have 20 years. You are in the middle of a crisis. You have bills to pay, a family to protect, and a destiny to fulfill right now. You cannot go sit in a cave for a decade to prepare for the battle you are already in. You need the upgrade now. You need a bridge that can take you from the stress of beta to the power of theta instantly. You need a way to flip the switch so that your biology can finally catch up with your theology. For centuries, this seemed impossible for the average person. But we are living in a time where knowledge is being unsealed. Modern science, confirming ancient wisdom, has found a way to hack into this state. A way to induce this metamorphosis without the 20 years of isolation. A tool that has been hidden, perhaps reserved for a time such as this, when the chosen ones would need to accelerate faster than ever before. What if I told you there is a way to bridge this gap in just 7 minutes a day? A way to synchronize your brain with God's new plan so the fog lifts and the power flows. I am going to show you exactly what this is and how to use it right now. It is called the genius wave. This is the neural key I was telling you about. It is a specific sound technology developed by neuroscientists, some with backgrounds at NASA, that does what meditation takes years to do. It gently guides your brain from the stress of beta down into the deep, creative, miracle-ready zone of theta. Think of it as a digital tuning fork for your spirit. You do not have to learn a technique. You do not have to master a posture. You just listen for 7 minutes a day. That is it. While you listen, the sound waves synchronize with your brain activity, physically entraining your mind to resonate at the exact frequency where God speaks. This is the modern application of the ancient command, "Be still and know that I am God." That stillness is not just being quiet, it is a frequency. It is the theta state. When you operate from this state, the brain fog vanishes, the exhaustion lifts, because you are no longer fighting the new plan with old hardware. You are finally running the new software on a machine built to handle it. I have put a link to the research and the tool itself in the pinned comment below. I am not telling you to get it, I am telling you to investigate it. If your spirit leaps when you hear this, if you feel a pull that says this is the missing piece, then follow that leading. That is the Holy Spirit confirming your next step. But I must warn you, once you access this power, once you start vibrating at the frequency of your new timeline, a new enemy will immediately appear. And this enemy is not the devil. It is not your family. It is you. Specifically, it is the shadow version of you that is terrified of your own power. This is the fear of success, or what the world calls imposter syndrome. As soon as things start clicking, as soon as the miracles start flowing, a voice in your head will scream, "Who do you think you are? You are going to mess this up. You are not ready for this level of authority." You will feel an urge to self-sabotage, to run back to the smallness of your old life, because smallness feels safe. I need you to catch this raw thought right now. Maybe you are thinking, "I would rather go back to the struggle I know than face the pressure I do not know." That thought is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of location. You only feel that specific fear when you are standing on the border of your promised land. If you were truly unqualified, you would be arrogant. You would be reckless. The fact that you are trembling is proof that you respect the weight of the glory God is putting on you. Your fear is not evidence of your inability. It is the certificate of your readiness. So, how do we move forward? We do not just hope for the best. We execute a strategy. I am giving you the Quantum Pivot Protocol. This is your roadmap for the next 40 days. It consists of 3 specific phases. Phase 1 is the purge. For the next 3 days, you must mentally and spiritually cut the cords to the timeline you just left. You cannot drag the luggage of Plan B into the jet stream of Plan A. This means you stop stalking your past. You stop replaying the what-ifs. You declare over your life, "That door is shut, and I threw away the key." Phase 2 is the alignment. This is where you use the theta state. Every morning, before you look at your phone, before you talk to anyone, you get into that frequency. Whether you use the sound tool I mentioned or deep prayer, you must download the instructions for that specific day. In the new plan, you do not get a 5-year map. You get daily bread. You get the manna for today. Phase 3 is the silent execution. This is the hardest part. You must build in the dark. Do not announce your next move on social media. Do not explain your pivot to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Silence is a container for power. When you speak prematurely, you leak the energy you need to build. This protocol is anchored in the promise of Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you." We put that on coffee mugs, but we miss the depth of the Hebrew word used there for future. The word is accurate. It does not just mean tomorrow, it means the after effect. It means the final, glorious outcome that makes sense of all the suffering that came before it. God is saying, "I am giving you an accurate, a finale so grand that it rewrites the history of your pain." But to get to the accurate, you must walk through the pivot. Let me tell you about someone who did this. Let's call her Sarah. 6 months ago, she felt the shock. She left a high-paying corporate career because God told her to move. Logic said she was insane. Her family said she was irresponsible. The logic attack was brutal. She sat in her car, shaking, watching her savings account drain, thinking she had missed God. But instead of going back, she applied this protocol. She used the frequency tool to shift her brain out of panic and into theta. In that stillness, she got one idea. Just one. It didn't make sense logically, but it resonated spiritually. She executed it in silence. Today, Sarah is not just making more money than she did in her corporate job. She is operating in a flow state she didn't know was possible. The opportunities are chasing her. She stopped hunting and started attracting. That is the difference between the beta struggle and the theta flow. You are Sarah. You are standing at that same cliff edge. And the voice of logic is trying to pull you back. But the voice of destiny is telling you to fly. Now, we are going to seal this. I need you to shift your posture. If you are safe to do so, sit up straight. If you are driving or lying down, I want you to visualize a pillar of white fire surrounding you. Center your focus on your chest, on your heart space. We are not just praying, we are programming your reality. Father, in the authority that is above every authority, we stand on the ashes of the old plan. We acknowledge that the script has been torn. We acknowledge that the safety net is gone. And we declare that we are not afraid of the fall, because we are learning to fly. I seal this quantum pivot in the spirit. I bind the spirit of regret that tries to look back at Sodom. I bind the spirit of guilt that tries to disqualify the chosen. I declare that the timeline of delay is broken. The timeline of acceleration is now active. I seal the theta frequency over your mind. I command the brain fog to dissipate. I command the confusion to scatter. Let the mind of Christ be activated in you, not just as a concept, but as a biological reality. You will think with the speed of heaven. You will see with the eyes of the eagle. I prophesy over you that what took your ancestors 40 years will take you 40 days. The cycle of trauma stops with you. The cycle of poverty stops with you. The cycle of almost but not quite stops right now. You are the carrot. You are the glorious outcome. Now, answer this in your spirit. Do not speak it if you do not mean it. God is asking, are you willing to walk this path even if you have to walk it alone? Are you willing to carry the weight of this glory? If your answer is yes, say it with your spirit. It is recorded. It is witnessed. It is sealed. The old you is dead. The new you is deployed. Go, and do not look back.